EBITDA Growth Systems. Who are the people behind the magic, and what do they actually stand for? We all like to make money, right? But there's more to this company than just what's on the surface. And according to this flyer that I'm reading right now, it says impacting lives by improving business performance. However, don't just take it from me, and don't just take it from the flyer. Let's go meet these guys in person. Welcome to Shop Rescue. Machinists are amazing technicians making incredible products, but they don't always profit like they should. These are the stories of shop owners who are making the leap from surviving to thriving. This is Shop Rescue. We're here in beautiful Golden, Colorado, home of EBITDA Growth Systems, the Profitability Experts. So whichever one of you would like to start between, Dave and Mike, let's give a brief, rundown of how you can help people.
At the time, the company was called Scaling the Exit, and the premise was that we're going to help baby boomer business owners get prepared for a sale, because 70 to 80% of baby boomer business wanted to fund their retirement with the sale of their company, but less than 28% of them were saleable. So I wrote a book called Scaling the Exit, and I developed a program to help these companies increase their profitability and therefore their valuation.
And my background as a machinist, tool and die maker, sold my company in 2010, went into corporate America, kind of grew up and just learned more and more about the business, had some people really invest in me. And then I'm talking to Mike. And while this is going on, I still owned the last company. I've owned 9 companies in the last 30 years, or 9 divisions. And this last company is kind of hanging on to, and I paid for a coaching service. And because I had a partner back in Indiana and I was here. And the coaching service was 17 miles wide and about an 1/8 inch deep. I couldn't stand that. So I talked to Mike and I'm like, what do you do? Tell me about this. And he's like, why don't you join me? And, because he says it almost like a joke. Why don't you join me? I'll take a guy like you. And I'm like, really?
A lot of truth and jest, right?
All right, yeah, that's exactly right. So I got this company. I'm like, I kind of go home, work some numbers. I'm like, I can totally do this. Even if I don't make much money at all, I can totally do this. And I'd be doing what I love to do. So he had Scaling Exit. And I'm like, Mike, why don't we come alongside companies, but make it 18 inches wide and 17 miles deep? Really, really make a difference. And we came up with the name of the company, and then we came up with the mission to impact lives through improving business performance, and just kind of hang on that.
Dave and I met for lunch because I kind of vet clients before I take them on, and Dave and I hit it off. I ended up working with his team for about 1.5 years, and he says, hey, I'm kind of done with what I'm doing now, man. I want to come and join you. And to my surprise, there was Dave. I'm ready, man. Are you ready? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm ready.
Right? And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, we have a full coaching platform, right? So talk about exiting baby boomers, but you also have people that have a company they want to sustain. Like, hey, I own a company, but I want to spend 6 months in Florida. And Mike's like, I got clients that spend 6 months in Florida and 6 months at the plant. It's like, cool, that's sustaining, right? But then you also have, our first client was totally in growth mode. He ran a VP at a bank. I'm going to buy a machine shop, be a machine shop owner. He wasn't in sustain mode or exit mode, man. It's growth mode, the capital intensive, diving in, trying to grow a shop fast. You got employee turbulence, you got the whole thing, right? And so you have those 3 different levels of business. And Mike and I take 30 years experience from being a machinist, machine shop owner, corporate guy, all 3, from a very small business to a very big business. And Mike has a tremendous background. You mix them up and all of a sudden you got like yin and yang. Mm-hmm. And in like almost, it's amazing.
Immediately got 4 or 5 clients, and then COVID hit. And so it was the best thing and the worst thing that could happen to us. It was the best thing because as a result of COVID, at the time it was not even Teams. It was Zoom. And even before Zoom, it was GoToMeeting. Those platforms became acceptable because no one could travel anyway. So that was so key to our success early on, because otherwise we were going to be a little regional firm that, every client we'd have to be able to drive to. But when COVID hit and that technology became generally accepted, all of a sudden we became a national firm overnight.
Well, guys, you've brought MTD in. We're excited to be here. And I know your backstory. Your company is incredible. Helping manufacturing is something we believe in with our whole heart. I believe you have a recent call of a customer that we're going to visit together, which I'm very excited about. Can we talk about this call that you received so I can get a little bit of a heads up of who we're going to see?
I fought this battle because in talking to this guy over the last year and a half, 2 years, I see myself in him. He reminds me of where I was.
So is this why you were a yes and Mike was a no? You saw yourself in him?
I was totally going to take advantage of my size and wrestle Mike for this client. That's just how I was going to go, because I see this young guy learn how to machine on YouTube.
Learned how to machine on YouTube. This is the guy we're meeting.
Yes, learn how to program, learn how to machine on YouTube. Yeah, coming up as a machinist, right? It's like YouTube, huh? And then, but I mean, he's making some trick parts out of material that you're like, what? Invar. And so I'm asking questions like, how do you know you're ready, man? Because I got to go to Mike. Mike has a threshold. Anything below this, it's a hard no. Tell me more.
I will say that I softened up because for us, the definition of an entrepreneur is someone who relentlessly pursues an opportunity without regard for resources not currently under their control. And this was Nick. Nick, he was just blind ambition. He was just so committed to what he was doing that, how do you not? But it was going to be his client, for sure. But yeah, I mean, he won me over. Actually, probably Dave won me over.
It was a wrestling match.
Because Dave described this guy's commitment to his entrepreneurial venture, and this is America, man. I mean, how do you push back on that? So, it's
Do we know 90 hours a week? We know
yes.
It's a struggle.
Yes.
Do we know what kind of machines or parts or anything? I mean, he's learned from YouTube, for crying out loud. That's incredible. What are we going to get to see when we get there?
I know that he makes like laser guided systems and satellite parts and very, very difficult parts. And he doesn't have super high end machines because he only has so much money. So he's fixturing stuff, and I'm looking forward to diving in a little bit more and seeing how he's doing some of this stuff. I don't think we can show too many of his parts because there are a lot of DoD stuff because he's making some really high-end parts that other people can't make.
Well, it's a good thing both of you guys are so handsome because all the parts are going to be blurred
Yeah.
for everyone who's watching right now. So we do have that. So is there anything else to get the watchers excited about what's going into this facility when we get there? Any other part of this story that we can inspire them with?
Well, a lot of our clients are middle-aged, 40 to 60 years old, and this dude's young.
Oh,
right?
27.
So it is the future of manufacturing, and how many people have expressed an interest? Young people have expressed an interest in manufacturing. This dude has sold out. He's given up his private life. He's all in, and you gotta cheer for a guy like that. So
for sure.
I do know he was making money because he owned a vape shop with his brother.
At the same time?
Yeah, so his brother would run it, right? And so, but I think that's how he was making money, because he wasn't making money at the shop because he so.
This
and
is
he
Boulder, Colorado. So
Right.
it's not that kind of vape shop, I don't think, but he talked his brother into joining his team. So I know we're going to meet Tanner there too. So it's Nick and Tanner. He got two brothers, and they are working. I just know that they're working, and I think a very light week is 80 hours a week for them. Tell me, I know we can do this. I know we can do this. What's going on? Well, this is what's going on, but I need you. Why do you need me? Dave, I'm working 90 plus hours a week.
Whew.
Every night I talk to my fiance. I said, oh, so you guys are engaged now? Yeah. So every night we fight.
I know some companies that are working on their automation hoping to get 90 hours. This guy's doing it on his own.
7 days a week.
God.
So he's just working. He is working. And he's like, there's no end in sight. And I've been doing this for 4 years and I can't keep doing it. And I know you can help me.
Well, I'm excited to see it. We're talking about a mid-20s, a very hard-working 90 hours, 80 hours.
Yes.
Self-taught on YouTube, and an investment that we were originally unsure of that we've now been convinced to do. So me personally, I cannot wait to visit this shop with you guys. This is Shop Rescue.
Hi, my name is Alex Renner. I'm an implementation project manager at Paperless Parts, the leading quoting and estimating software for manufacturers. For the little guy, really what we're all about doing is setting up a process that's repeatable, putting guardrails in place so that a shop is gonna make money on the jobs that they do win, be able to filter out the jobs that maybe might not be the right fit for them, and at the end of the day, save time and drive more profitability for their business. I'm truly bought into the mission. It was when I saw the company, it really swayed me to take that step, and getting to see the light bulbs connect for our customers, see them give us accolades for how much time, money, savings they're generating with paperless. That's what keeps me ticking in this job.
A short drive later, Dave and Mike are ready to chat it up with the Preece brothers at Preece Machining and Assembly in Boulder.
What do you say, guys?
Hey, Mike. Hello.
Good to see you. What a beautiful Colorado day.
Mike, nice to see you.
Good to see you. Man, did you
Come on back.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, cool, dudes.
Yeah,
This is the shop.
got Old Glory over there?
Yeah. So
This is great. So what do you got going on here?
the whole idea is we've tried to set it up so there's some kind of flow. So we're trying to get material, general receiving in, and then just store material here.
Is that this opens?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We,
you get-
we get deliveries here, and then basically we store everything over here. And we're trying to create a flow such that material can kind of move through the shop as it gets more finished.
Okay,
Really trying to
okay.
build out like a process.
Everything's traceable.
Yeah, well, we're trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
build out a process that makes it super simple to get
Okay.
stuff made, right? So we've got people cutting here, we find all our material, and we're doing our in-process check bins, which
Okay.
sit right here. And so those are going to find.
So it goes in, quality, and comes out and ships here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Waits for outside processing here, final shipping
Well,
here.
shipping's kind of in the back, but yeah, it
We'll
ends
get-
up shipping out.
We'll get to our main shipping shelf here.
Okay.
Let's walk this thing with the tool.
Yeah.
So back here, where everything is. Got your CMM? Yep, got the CMM. Got finished parts, and we also have. So this shelf right here, I think we skipped past that shelf. That shelf right there is going to be outside processing, things that we're still working on. In here is this needs to be inspected,
Okay.
and so
Different stages of inspection.
Yep.
Then you got the Mitsubishi CMM.
Mr. Toyo, yeah, the MyStar, soon to be hopefully upgrading.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are you moving to?
We're moving to a Krista Apex.
Krista Apex,
Very nice.
slightly shorter.
You have, you have an articulating head.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 5-act full scanning. So scanning is constant contact with the workpiece.
You got a PH10A, right?
PH10 was the SM25. So that scanning head is super neat because it can generate like a point cloud on a 3D surface or a diameter or
Nice.
more than just a couple of points. Like we're going to take 1,000 points if you take a long time without a scanning head. Now you can just drop it in there.
You have somebody know what they're doing on this thing?
We really do. Yeah. Sean has been absolutely awesome and pretty much carved a path for this whole.
Who's driving the quality thing? Is your HR clients pushing you?
So ITAR's pushing on cybersecurity, so we take it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
We're CMMC compliant too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And in terms of quality, we're just pushing internally to try to target new customers. So now that we're ISO 9000 certified,
Yeah.
now that we've kind of started with ProShop, we're going to be doing AS, and our AS audits actually in June. Like this month,
to
yeah.
September.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
shoot
we'll
for
This
AS.
next couple months, you'll be
Yeah, we'll be AS in this.
Give you the opportunity to pursue a whole different.
Yeah. Well, in this area, it's really obvious that they want you to have that.
On the front range of Colorado.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So really, with what you have and how you're fixturing, you can make so many different wild things, so many different wild materials. You
Yeah.
showed me your in bar.
yeah.
It's like our
And you can
niche.
measure it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can't measure it, you can't make it.
After the nickel tour, the group finds a quieter place to talk shop.
How do you guys get clients?
We have tried to. We could do better. We do have a decent website. We get almost all of our clients come to us through our website or word of mouth.
Okay, cool.
And so we put a lot into our website, but we could always put more in. That's kind of what I've learned.
How many quotes do you average? I mean, how many quotes do you average in a week on average?
In a week?
I'd say maybe 10 or 15.
10 or 15 maybe.
10 or 15 quotes a
So
week.
what's your win rate? How often do you win quotes?
Like 99.
Too often.
99% of the time.
Almost every time if we send a quote, we're kind of preparing to win it.
How many quotes a week?
10 or 15.
10 or 15.
10 to 15 a week.
Winning 99%.
Yeah,
You
or
guys-
just
Yeah, just 99% win rate.
Yeah. I mean,
So that's that
can you talk
causes.
through that for them for us?
So okay, let's use hypothetical numbers. If you pay a guy, say you have labor at $30 an hour, what are you billing for labor?
we're. I don't really know. We don't really have it granulated out. So I guess I would imagine the way we built it was some kind of markup on labor, some kind of markup on machine time, and that's what we're trying to do. And so it would average out to just a little over $30 an hour, pretty much, you know?
Hypothetical numbers. So let's, Micah, I'd love to go through costs and ask some questions. Do you have something you want to go over before that?
No, it's just that when we talk to so many small, medium-sized manufacturers, right? And when we hear a 99% win rate, you guys are like, woohoo! And we're like, ugh. We want you to be down at a 30, 35%. 50,
Maybe 50.
maybe 50. But it's hard for you guys to even fathom only winning 35% of your work. But if you're winning 90% of your work, 99% of your work, you're smoking deal. You got to be a smoking deal, and that's having a disparate impact on everything.
Yeah.
So follow me. So if you had a 50% win rate, means you win some and your competitor wins some, which means your pricing is really close to what the market will bear. So it's important that you're pricing yourself at market rate. If you're winning them all, it means you're way below market because you have no competition.
Yeah.
If you win about 50%, it means you're pretty close to market rate. If you win about 30%, it means you're a little higher than market, but your skill and the difficulty of the work that you have carries that value.
Yeah.
Right? So you kind of start around that 50% to understanding. You start at that 50% to understanding that you're at the market. So you know you're competitive.
Right. I know. So we've talked about this a lot, and I think at some level there's like, this is gonna sound weird, but like an imposter syndrome kind of thing going on with me. Like when I first started the business, it was very much like, I can't believe people aren't giving me work. You know what I mean? And so trying to be everything to everybody, and then I kind of just stuck there a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I know our shop, I know we could build more. I know we should be building more, but I know it scares me. You know what I mean? Because
You're not alone.
Yeah.
There's so many shops that you're getting work, and if you're 10 quotes a week turn into 5, that's a lot of pressure, right? And I get that. I totally get that. But the thing of it is, if you're charging market rate for 5, you'll make as much revenue as you would for the 10. Right? So we need to dig into some of the numbers, right? We'll get into some of the numbers and stuff like that, and really understand what our costs are. But anytime you run a business, the most important thing you can do is understand to the penny what your cost is. because everything pivots off of that. If I'm charging, and just using hypothetical numbers, if I'm charging $30 an hour, but my costs are $48 an hour, or 58 or 68, we're seeing in the industry, where average costs are between $75 and $100 an hour. Cost.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for a shop making difficult parts. So knowing that that's industry average, I have a gut feeling where you are compared to the market. But you have to understand what that number is so you can decide, should I take the job or shouldn't I take the job? Because you have to protect all your interests, right?
Yeah. And this is the perennial problem for small and medium-sized manufacturers, understanding their costs and then pricing according. There's industry standards around costs, but they almost don't make that much difference. You got to know what your costs are.
That's right.
Right. So you have your revenue, but your cost of goods sold includes your labor. This labor is fully burden labor.
Yeah.
Right. And so, are you getting paid?
I do get paid more than he gets paid.
But probably not market.
No, probably not.
So how many hours do you get paid for a week?
40.
So I was like, you said you work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You only working like 5 hours a day?
No.
Do you count your hours?
I do, yeah. So
Does
since
that hurt?
yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But it's something that like I said, I love this business and love what we do, and so I'm invested in it in that sense. And me and him both have like a goal of building this into something that's bigger. And so I think we both have been willing to take that hit for a while. I know he's probably taken it more than me.
How long have you been here? A year?
Me, I've been here for 2 years.
You've been doing this just shy of 6 years.
Yeah.
So the first 4 years, you just were grinding.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And you guys had like a business outside of here together, right?
Well, it's primarily his shop. Yeah.
I own like a small retail location in Louisville that he owns a percentage of. And so I've been doing that for a while. And I had 2 small retail businesses, and I've kind of walked away from that a little bit to come here. I like it better. I like what I do here better.
So that's going to be an opportunity for us. We'll spend more time talking about your labor.
Yeah.
Because you guys are not capturing all your labor. You guys are eating it. Right?
They're running it. They're working on it. They're trying to run it. That's a gut feel, but I'm going to ask more questions.
In terms of your material, you guys are probably putting an RP out to your material vendors and getting pricing back. But we'll talk to you more about putting a fee on your material because you guys are handling this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I need to ask a question.
Yes.
When you have labor, you have the dollar per hour, right? And then the employee pays Social Security. Then you have to match that Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have benefits. You have to offer benefits to your employees.
We offer healthcare.
Okay, so healthcare on top of that. And then you have workers' comp insurance you cover. Do you roll all that into what you bill for labor?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. It's labor has so much going on.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, hey, I pay someone, I'll just keep using the term $30 an hour.
Sure.
I pay someone $30 an hour, so that's my cost.
Yeah.
But really what we find is it's usually 1.35 or 1.5 times that number is really your true labor cost.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that. And so machine shop either boils down to a penny, they put the thumb in the ear and say, I'm going to bid this, or I know so-and-so bills this much an hour, so I'm just going to start here. I don't know why I'm starting here, but I'm just going to start here.
Yeah.
So,
so the answer isn't always that we got to raise our prices.
Right.
But we certainly need to make sure we're making money, right? And so in order to do that, we have to understand our costs. So we have what we refer to as direct overhead, but that's going to be your machine. Do you guys charge a specific hourly rate for your machines?
I think we do. Since we
got
the ERP system, we've worked it out inside.
what ERP system are you using?
ProShop.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a good system. Good ERP
it's
system.
awesome.
I'm glad you have that because that means we start looking at some real data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you got to be recovering machine costs because in a scenario where you had 50 machines and 3 people working, certainly your cost is more than the 3 people.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The indirect labor is you guys are also supervising your team. So you're making parts, that's direct labor, chargeable work, and then you're managing your team, which is indirect labor, and we have to capture those costs as well. Your consumables, you guys charge for your tooling? Do you build that into your pricing?
If it's highly specialized and expensive, if it's
What about standard? If it's just standard,
standard, likely not, because we likely have it.
And it goes so far across it.
Yeah.
Like, so the way we've standardized our machine tools is we have all the same tools in like the first 10 pockets.
Smart.
First 12
And
pockets.
Yes, but you have to pay for those tools.
no, we do, and so I'd say there's like a small amount in there, but it's not like on every job we're building for like this end mill, this face mill, this end mill.
No,
Because we
understood.
can't do that, and so
Understood.
we're accounting for it. Like obviously we're buying new tools, but not probably like we should because it's so hard. Considering that we're
short run.
yeah short run, so it's gonna be used again.
Yes.
So if we have
yes.
to buy a tool for
But if
your
you-
job, we're adding.
But
it, yeah.
if you didn't have a 1/2 end mill and it's a standard tool and you need one for this job, you gotta buy it.
we would, but we have a management system on the tooling, and so we don't
I
use
saw the
that.
system.
Yeah,
But if you didn't have one in the machine and you had to replace it, you'd have to put one in the machine to use it, right?
it has to be. Yeah, of course. So we are paying for it. We just don't know how to do that because we can't say, okay, every customer's paying for every end mill, and we can't say.
No, we
Do
understood.
you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
kind of the challenge we ran into there, and so it's specific tooling.
Certainly
Well,
work
we've
through
built
that.
in tooling cost into our overall.
Yeah.
Into our overall quoting.
Yeah,
Right, so
and we almost feel like that's a. I don't know the right way to say this.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do though. Like I showed you the tooling counter, we feel like it's the machine shop's responsibility to have the tools they need. Like, you know what I mean? If a carpenter came to your house and he's like, dude, you gotta pay me for my hammer. You know what I mean?
Not the hammer, the nails.
The nails.
How many nails is he using?
Okay,
He's
but,
using 30,000 nails versus 5 nails.
yeah, but if I gotta buy 10 penny nails for your job, I'll bill you for them. But if I got a 5-gallon bucket full of nails, you know, you're gonna share this cost a little, but
Yeah.
Just leaving the nails behind.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Tooling is a consumable.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you really have to know, if I have a 1/2 end mill and it lasts an average of 3 jobs,
Right.
every customer should pay 1/3 of that end mill.
Sure. It's so much higher than that, we haven't really calculated. Like we have,
Yes.
it's
and-
so much higher.
And so we'll show you the concept of buckets.
So
Okay.
the direct overhead, your tooling and your outside processing, you pass that along, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And you get quotes for that, right?
Okay.
Yep.
And so what we end up with is a gross margin, and this is where your leverage is in the gross margin. And so when we have our calls, we'll spend 2 hours a month talking through sales, marketing, and then finance, and we'll start to trim this data for you.
Sure.
And so we have we're benchmarking you against industry best along these lines, and then we'll see where we're falling and make some determinations. But it's all about gross margin.
Yeah, this I have a friend of mine, his name is Jason Ray. He started a company called Paperless Parts. I know you've heard about it. I know you have a card over there. So we're going to want to talk to those guys and make sure we take all the information in ProShop, figure out what those numbers are, and make sure that number is accurate in your quotes.
Mhm.
We're just going to tighten that up and make sure it's right, because that's a great quoting software because it starts there, right? So we will probably engage those guys and get those guys rolling too.
Yeah.
So I think really pinning down the cost is where it's going to be a big thing, because you guys are working yourself to death.
Yeah.
So we want to help. Of course, we talked about sales, talked about marketing, talked about finance, operations, and management, a little bit of succession stuff, and we'll take that data back and we'll bring back a rough, go plan to at least say, hey, let's work on these few things immediately. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of give you a 12 to 18 month plan to execute.
Mhm.
Dave will be your primary coach, and so it'll be fun.
Cool. You guys ready?
Yeah. Dude, we're stoked.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't mind.
Right on.
Good to see you, David.
Right on.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Right on.
Thanks, guys.
The meet and greet went well, but Mike's not fully convinced yet.
I'll tell you, Dave.
Well, I feel good about it. What do you think?
I don't know, man.
What do you mean you don't know?
I still have the same concerns, man. I mean, so, for us to meet our brand promise and our mission statement, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time with these guys.
Yeah, but that is our brand promise. That's why we do what we do, though. We don't come in and help people that don't need help. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I do, but it's on you, man. I mean, it's going to take a lot of your time. You're going to be calling them at night. You're going to respond to calls at night. You're going to be freaking driving up here. I live right down the street, and I'm committed. We commit as a company, but
I can't get around the way I feel and how I'm reminded of the things that I struggle with, and I know we can help him. And I think he's going to listen. His life sucks.
Yeah.
His life is rough. It is not going well. He doesn't have time with his fiance. They're fighting. So I don't want to call myself a fixer, but we got things to fix. And if we bail on him, who's going to help him?
This is Shop Rescue.
Hello, I'm Eric Goglitz, VP of Sales with Aerox Technologies. We're a manufacturer of mist collectors. What made me really excited about this project is the fact that mist collection isn't always looked at as a product that makes you money. We wanted to participate and support the shop because that's not a product that they may go out and buy, having financial hardships possibly, and we want to give them that ability to have a clean, safe work environment. So I really hope this show opens eyes of the owners of some of these other shops that may be struggling, to show them that there is a way to do this correctly. Instead of trying to do the bare minimum for the lowest cost possible, you can bring up your quality and charge the price for it that you need to.
Well, boys, that was a visit, and we learned a little bit. Do we think we can help?
Well, I mean, I do see a young man who's totally committed. He's not going to bail on us. Like if we jump in the foxhole with him, he's not going to run back out. So I want to say that about him.
He can do it.
Yeah,
he can do it. And Tanner's going to be our biggest ally. Because Tanner's going to help Nick get there. It's not going to be easy.
No,
not going to be easy.
That could be a succession issue there. Not so much that Tanner would take the business from Nick, but rather the two of them they're going to have to.
We got to work that out.
Yeah,
we got to work that out. They have a couple things they have to work out together. Because that could be something that really, that's an unknown that we got to bolt that down first.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have a lot on your plate. You've already said. So I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to head back and wish you guys luck, and I'll see you again soon, all right?
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Tony.
it. Dave, we have a classic problem. Or he has a classic problem.
It's a classic example.
It's he doesn't understand his cost. And he's trying to outwork his cost. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like his cost. I want to do it on this so we can take it down. His costs are here, right? His pricing is here, but his cost is actually here, right? So what happens is, this is an 8-hour block, so he has to run this all the way out here and work 16 hours to meet his cost. That's why all the hours are coming from. Do you hear what he's doing with Tanner?
No.
Tanner gets paid X for 40 hours.
And he works
and then he has to clock out. And then he works another 40 hours for free to help him out. Did you hear that? Did you hear that part?
I didn't hear him
So
say
he's
that.
getting 40 hours out of Tanner.
So he's doing that to Tanner too.
Yep.
And he could do that to his brother.
Well, kind of, because his brother's getting frustrated about it because the brother wants the ownership. They want to have the ownership conversation, and that's tense.
Yeah. An employee would not do this. An employee...
No, they get more than 2 employees and there's no recovery. So, I mean, the pricing, here's the problem. If I may, the pricing for the product that he's running,
that's the market value.
That's the market value of this product is here.
Yep.
So you really, I mean, you have cost and market value. He's sacrificing 3-4x.
But he's afraid. He's afraid if he actually charges what he's supposed to charge, because I think intuitively he knows he's supposed to charge more.
Tanner does. Tanner knows he needs to charge more.
Tanner's
does. Like, hey, we're doing this way too cheap. And Nick's like, yeah, but we got to keep the customer.
We got to keep the customer.
It's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
It's exactly how I felt. But this here is a loss. It's such a huge loss. Yeah, he's losing about $35 an hour.
Yeah.
So he has tax, he has insurance. What else is he missing?
Yeah, but those costs are, the labor is what's killing him.
Yeah, the labor, all the extra stuff that he's covering for labor, his labor cost.
Yes.
Because he basically, if you have somebody and you pay that person $30 an hour, he's literally billing a straight $30 an hour. So what else is he missing? You got taxes, you got insurance. Benefits.
Yep, those are the biggies.
That's just on the employee side, right?
Yes, but he has no employees. Actually, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
They have 5 people.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you got the whole overhead side too.
Yeah, again, that has grown too as his employee base grows. But he's nowhere close to covering his operating expenses because he has a negative gross margin once he puts the actual accurate cost into his income statement. So,
did you notice that he bills the full labor rate per hour as the machine's setting up, but once the setup's done, he takes the cost of the employee out and he only puts and he cuts it way down to X amount an hour just for the machine. And he doesn't put the labor alongside of it.
Does he think he's capturing the machine cost?
Yeah, he thinks, well, you're going to go set up another machine, so that's going to move over here, so I'm not going to charge that. So his labor rate actually, not to oversimplify, does this when the job's actually running.
Yeah.
So which means you have to work even more hours. So we got to fix this. This is number one. And we get to this by understanding your cost and really doing a good market rate survey on what those type of parts sell for and explain to him what competitive in that market means. It does not mean this.
Right.
And once he understands that, we're going to have to leverage Tanner's hunger for, hey, I think we're way too cheap. And we're going to have to get him there because he just wants to do a good job.
I know, but I think if we can get the financials to tell that story, he will understand what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just math. Mm-hmm. It's not going to add up for him.
The fear level is right here. Mm-hmm. Anything above cost creates fear. These owners, they think that they can charge, hey, this is what it costs me, and I make a little bit of money because that means any of their personal labor goes toward it. They think it's profit. But it's not. They got to pay somebody, whether it's them or somebody else, right? So it's not a profit. So the fear is anything above cost, and we got to get him to that market.
With the challenges diagnosed and a remedy mapped out, it's time to pitch the plan to Nick and Tanner.
So, first and foremost thing, we talked about you guys getting the ownership thing lined up.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that taken care of yet?
Pretty much do. Not fully. We haven't gotten it on paper. You guys made sure that was a big deal last time, and so we haven't gotten it on paper yet. But we've kind of reached an agreement.
Is it fair?
I think so. There's going to be some give and take. I think I couldn't settle with something that I wouldn't be happy with, and so it's probably not market. Just straight out of honestly, it's probably not. But I couldn't live with selling a chunk of it for what we were talking about originally. So
yeah,
the situation was that you have your brother working more than 40 hours a week, but there's no compensation for the extra hours. Whether that's profit sharing or equity ownership or whatever, and so that really was an issue for us, and I think it was an issue for your brother, and we feel like that's very central. to your longer term success.
We do too, and I think maybe we were coming at it from a perspective of, like, when Tanner first started working here, obviously it wasn't like, all right, let's talk about how you earn 25%. So there was some amount of like getting there, and then, in my opinion, kind of showing that you want to be interested in this.
Okay.
And so that's kind of, I think, where that came from a little bit. And what do you think about that?
I think that's accurate. I think didn't come here the first day I started working for you expecting to have anything.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like by working as much as I am and doing as much as I do, because I do basically everything that you do minus a few things. And so I don't know. I just felt we had talked about it as time went on, and I think now it's something that we're talking about more seriously. And I never expected anything coming here the first day.
No, we know that, but I think we've come to an agreement that we can both agree on. It's probably
What kind of time frame?
over 5 years. Well, it kind of depends on profits, I guess. But I mean, it could be as quick as next year. You know, it's a cash deal, and so the deal is Tanner's going to get some kind of profits, and as he earns, he can basically buy a percentage of the company with those profits.
Are any of the extra hours he's working going towards that?
They haven't at the moment. No, that's what the owners do, right?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, so that we come full circle. I mean, I think whatever you guys settle on going forward, I'm not even sure if the Department of Labor is going to be very pleased with what you got going right now, where you have an employee who works 40 hours. I mean, works, I don't know, 90 hours and gets paid for 40. I know that doesn't.
I'm in the same boat.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
That's what owners do. That's how owners are going to do it. You know what I mean? And so that's just part of the game. You know what I mean? It's going to be part of the game to own the company, a part of the company. You know what I mean?
Yes. But in the scenario where you own, I don't know, 75% ultimately, but right now 100% or 95%, he owns 5%.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are on equal footing in terms of being owners. Is it just if you have
there's like a trial period? Basically, you know what I mean? He and I had talked about this, that obviously it's not day one. There's going to be some kind of like trial period. And so I don't feel like I usually, sometimes I ask you to say, but I'm not like, you have to be here this long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's taking the initiative.
If he doesn't work the hours you work, you get upset about that.
Sometimes because I know where he wants to be. I know he wants to be in. He wants to be doing
your
this
big
equal.
brother just saying, prove it. If
He wants to be at
do it.
He wants to be equal.
You want to be an owner, you're just saying, prove it.
Not so much prove it, but like, this is what I'm having to do. You know what I mean? If this is what I'm expecting another ownership person to do.
So in order to get to 25, he needs to act like he's at 25 already.
Yeah, exactly. Right, and I feel like he's done that, and so we've reached a. So at least I'm happy with it. I brought it to him expecting to kind of barter with it, and I think we did a little. And so
you guys have that. So the next time we talk, you're gonna have it on paper.
I mean, probably, yeah. It depends on how much a lawyer costs, but yeah. We're happy to sign a paper right now, but we don't have it drafted. You know what I mean? We're not eager to drop $5,000 on a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Well, that's something we want to.
We just got to vote it down. We got to vote it down because it keeps the number from drifting one way or another.
It's not drifting. No, Tanner and I know what it is, and it's the same thing with like the 5% that he owns. Like, I'm not.
If you have a document and both of you guys sign it,
I'd be fine with that.
And you have a witness,
I'm
you can
fine
start
with
there
that.
and then you can bring it to a lawyer at a time when you have some cash and do that.
I'm
At
fine
least
with
you
that.
have something to where it's like, look, we have something. You have a copy, you have a copy, and you move forward.
I think we both are not trying to screw each other.
The reason, and you guys are brothers, so assuming you're not doing that.
Yeah.
The reason we're hammering on this is because you're a pivotal part of the business, Tanner. So if Nick winds up working 7 days a week and you're working an extra 3 days a week beyond your hours to make sure this company gets off the ground, right? So when we did calculations, you have 40 hours of work, right? And if you're billing, I'm just gonna use a fictitious number, if you're billing $50 an hour, but it costs you $100 an hour, you have to work 80 hours just to break even. The extra hours you have to work are compensating for the pricing. gap because we notice a significant pricing gap because of all your other costs, the hidden costs, you know, the outside cost around labor, the outside cost around, you know, your material. You have a 10-inch piece of material, but you have this, but you might have a scrap piece that rolls into that. You know, you have different insurance, your different overheads, your machine cost, making sure that's right. As we boil this down, we're gonna start pulling this information together. First thing is addressing the pricing.
Yes.
Because you guys are literally, you guys are afloat because you're literally outworking your pricing.
Yeah.
So honestly, and when we said this in our first meeting, if you charge market rate, you can work half the hours and make the same amount of money.
Right. And the market will bear that.
Well, that's something we've definitely had arguments about.
Yeah, that's the truth. The market will bear it, and you won't have a 99% win rate.
Yeah.
50%. That's an affirmation that the market will bear, you know, your market rate.
This is Shop Rescue.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Bryson. I am the Business Development Manager for the Americas for Blaser Swiss Lube. So Blaser Swiss Lube is a cutting fluid company. We have our headquarters obviously in Switzerland, but we have our US headquarters in Goshen, New York. Dave gave me a call. He was talking about a job shop. They need help. And when they need help, we want to make sure that we as a community and as an industry are there to support them and do anything it takes to make sure that they are killing it. We want to help these smaller shops because their success is our success, right? And then you watch them grow. They buy more coolant, we're able to help them. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
You all can't be more expensive than many machine shops because you're running such a tight, you know, tight shop in terms of overhead expenses and that type of thing. So your costs aren't going to be absorbent.
How's charging market rate make you feel?
Makes me uncomfortable. So I basically handed it off to Tanner because it makes me uncomfortable. I'm like so scared of disappointing a customer or losing. Like I feel like losing to me is like disappointing somebody. So I've handed it off to Tanner. So Tanner, I think, has.
We've had arguments about it before.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of always erring on the side of what you guys are saying, which is that I think almost everything we quote should be quoted probably higher. That we're not quoting.
Yeah, you said you quote the risky parts, and so that's
and we do.
They're still high. I mean, like, and so I think that's what Dave was saying. I mean, they're high enough that we're not like. We're not losing a ton of money. You know what I mean? Like, we're not, in fact, even.
You're paying yourself like $400.
I know, but there's still some falling.
$2,000 left over.
Something's falling.
You were losing all kinds of money.
We could be billing higher.
No, you're just working 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
No. Literally, by the hour, you are not getting your value. You need to value, instead of being like, I got to give the customer a deal, you got to look in the mirror and say, I'm worth a lot.
Yeah.
You have to do that. And you have to be worth a lot to yourself first.
Yeah. So you guys have mad skills. You should pay for it.
Well, and I think he gets, like he was just saying, it's like he gets very almost emotional, like attachment to like not wanting to lose a quote.
Yeah.
Almost.
He gets emotional about not wanting to lose a quote, and I, on the other hand, am like, dude, I'd rather lose this quote and win one that's
you can't
gonna make us money. And
you can't sell BMW for like a Chevy Chevette price.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
And what's your on-time delivery?
Well, we're shooting for 95%.
What are you experiencing, do you think, in terms of on-time delivery?
Probably, I don't know, higher than that.
Soon we'll have actual
I would say.
for it.
Yeah.
You'd say higher than 90%?
Higher than 90 for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're making
that's
good parts on time for super cheap.
So you're giving the client everything. You're giving them quality, you're giving them delivery, and you're giving them price. And you don't have to do that today. There was a time, perhaps, I would argue you never have to do that, but the market was tighter. The market's not that tight anymore. And Dave and I don't feel like it will be tight for the next 3 years. So gotta make hay.
So if you were selling Coca-Cola and you sold a can for a penny, who would buy Coca-Cola from you?
Everybody.
How long would you stay in business selling it for a penny?
Not extraordinarily long.
So that's an extreme. That's not exactly what you guys are doing, but the concept is you're making high risk, difficult parts, difficult material. You have a ton of skill, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get a good part out the door. On top, working Sunday night at 11 o'clock at night. You're willing to do that to get a part out on Monday.
Yep.
How many times have you done that?
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
So stop for a second. We know shops that do the kind of work you do that are getting over $300 an hour for some of that work. Just hypothetically,
Right.
if you were getting $300 an hour, which I know you're not, how much money would you be saving?
Way more than we are.
Yeah.
So you need to understand what the market value is for what you're doing. So pricing is going to be something we're going to have to work really closely with, right? And we have a lot of exposure, so we have an idea of what parts go for. We don't know exactly, right? But we can tell you if you're low because we have a lot of exposure. We work with a lot of shops across the United States. So we don't share any of that information. We don't share any of your information, but it's something that you guys need to know from a cost standpoint. We need to boil down your cost, and we're going to get that nailed down. We got all your financials. You sent us 3 years of financials. We got that over to Bernadette. She's building her financial model. We can look at really what your cost per hour is, and we're going to really get down to that on the finance call. So, and from there, we're going to have a standard margin that you need to make, and we need to bid your hours and your overtime hours in there to see, okay, what your real cost is, right? And so if you are paying yourself what an owner should be making in your position and what a person should be making in your position, what would your cost be? So you have to add all the free stuff that you're giving the company, you need to add that into the cost because it's effort, right? And then once we understand that on the finance call, then we can pivot there on a margin, hey, what kind of margin we want to start with. And then you can decide when you quote the part, hey, am I going to give the customer a deal and only charge a 20% margin versus a 30% margin? I'm talking gross margin. I'm not talking net profit, right?
Right.
Because you still have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for your rent and all that stuff. All the stuff that if you close the doors and send everybody home, you still have certain bills you have to pay, right? So all those are not that. So we're talking the number above that.
Yeah,
so we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I think when you guys see that financial model, and you see what your bogey is, right? Where you're accounting for all your costs, and you have a target gross margin and a target operating profit, then how much runway, how much revenue you need to generate. And to Dave's point, at a proper price point, you guys will find out that your scheduling is not, 7 days a week. Your scheduling may end up being 5 days a week. Maybe 50 or 60 hours in that 5 day week, but wow, we can hit the numbers that we want
in a week, in a regular work
week. In a regular work week. Imagine that.
And you got to get this. You're getting married in a couple months. You got to get this under control before then.
I know.
I'm going to be all over you to make sure that your dog knows who you are, and so does your wife. That's something I cannot let you make the mistake I made.
Yeah.
So, and I promise you, this business is not worth more than her.
No, I know. Yeah.
Effort, your effort needs to go toward that. So it's something we got to do. And on the sales side, right? Once we have costing, and then we have a direction we're going to go. Now we can start targeting these markets, getting our ISO 9 or AS9100, start targeting a few other customers. I know you're talking to paperless parts. Maybe we're going to get, and you're deploying some blogs. You're getting more active in social, so people know who you are. And it's going to be really, really important to leverage that to try to pivot on some other sales, right?
Yeah.
Give your customers competition.
Give your customers competition. We like that.
Yeah.
So.
And then sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
And I think, and then we'll dig into the pro shop data. Talk about, of course, we always talk about safety. First thing we talk about is, hey, do you have a safety incident, something like that? Or do you know something around the shop you need to fix to make sure everybody's 100% safe? Quality, how many rejections do we have inside the plant versus outside the plant? How many rejections do we have come back, RMAs? Delivery, what's our on-time delivery? We're going to talk about that. and then talk about efficiency. Hey, I bid 10 hours, did it take 10 hours? I bid 6 hours, did it take 6 hours? I bid 50 hours, did it take 50 hours? And not only that, then we're gonna say, the beautiful thing that you have about Pro Shop is we're gonna say how many clocked hours you have. You know, you paid 5 people to work 40 hours. Do you have 200 hours logged in Pro Shop? So you wanna make sure that you have all the time. Are you collecting 100% of the data? Because efficiency is tricky. I bid 6 hours. It only took 6 hours, but Jose was here 8 hours. What happened the other 2 hours? He wasn't logged into anything. So we look at earned hours and how that works. So that'll be the operations side. And so what are we missing?
I think that's it.
I think that covers everything.
I think for our next, our planning period, which is 12 months, it will cross fiscal years at this point. But we have some goals and objectives we established for you, for the next 12 months. Many of them are around profitability for you guys. You guys aren't afraid of working. That's not the name of the game. The name of the game is profits.
If it was, I'd already won.
You did win that award. You won that award. You won the effort award. But it's time to get the reward that ties into the effort. Right? So that way you guys can do something special with this for yourselves and for other people here in the organization.
Well, let's let these guys get back at it. You guys good?
Any questions? Any concerns?
Nothing for me. Yeah, nothing really. We're excited.
So you're going to take the quoting. So Nick,
I have started. Yeah,
he's already taking on the quoting.
I'm going to start handling quoting and hopefully shoot that up a little bit. So
good deal.
Hopefully
within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Well, all that cash, you guys going to have a super Christmas party, and we'll expect to be there.
Right on.
Thank you guys.
The wheels of progress are in motion. Can Dave and Mike get this shop on track? And more importantly, can Nick and Tanner keep it there? Find out next time on Shop Rescue.